Last night, the President of the United States tweeted out a segment from Jesse Waters' show on Fox News talking about how Donald Trump has basically won. I think he literally said Trump won. And Trump tweeted, all Democrats should watch this. Well, that's one way to guarantee they don't watch it, but he's actually right. Waters' segment was actually a really great segment, and one of the most important bits was how he starts by showing even the mainstream media admits Trump's legal defense was excellent. And you know they begrudgingly do that. They rag on Trump all the time. You look at these outlets like Vanity Fair the other day highlight this, where they're acting like the article was titled Trump, fear in Trump land as their legal defense breaks down. And it's like they want to create this idea among the left and Democrats that Trump is losing when he's not losing. But that brings me to the actual story. Now, as an aside, CNN's analyst Jeffrey Toobin was concerned about the all-white male legal team for some reason. I don't know why. But this Blaze article says CNN analyst admits Trump is winning the impeachment trial, but has too many white lawyers. Well, I don't care about the white lawyers thing. That's stupid. We get it. But there was a funny video going around from the Senate trial showing the Democrat table and the Republican table. On the Democrat table are papers strewn about, and you can see highlighter marks and stuff in yellow. On the Republican side, it was it was rather empty. They each had a few, files or a book in front of them. What's really funny about that image is the Democrats, the left, were posting that image, highlighting how the Democrats had all of the evidence in those papers, and it was a good thing. And the Republicans had nothing. When Republicans posted the same image, they said the Democrats were disorganized and unprepared. And the tidiness of the Republican side showed they were prepared. And now we're seeing a very, very funny thing happen. But even the media is now admitting Trump is winning. What I find hilarious is when these forums for the resistance type people say Adam Schiff went on for days with a profound and articulate message, and the Republicans could only muster a couple hours of defense, as if because the Republicans didn't talk over and over again about the exact same thing, they are in a weaker position. In reality, Adam Schiff said so much nothing. He just literally repeated himself over and over again. The Republicans had very little to actually address. So Jesse Waters' assessment, in 2 hours, Donald Trump has won. But guess what? You know what's really funny about the whole political debate is how when I point out the same thing that even someone like Toobin would say, they accuse me of defending the president. Let me give you a dose of reality. I don't care what your perspective is, whether the Republicans are more or less organized or prepared based on how many papers they have. What matters is even the media who hates Trump is saying, yeah, well, Trump got this one. Let's check out this story. But I am going to bring you to reality afterwards, okay? I'm going to bring you to what Americans actually think about this. Because I got to be honest, I don't really care what CNN's analyst thinks. I care about what Americans actually think. That's why I check polling aggregates. I look at economic numbers, and I do, to an extent, like to see what the aggregate assessment from the media is. Though as an individual, I think, look, you see these articles from Vanity Fair, like Trump is scared and losing. It's like, dude, so far from the truth. But let's at least entertain what Toobin is saying. The Blaze reports CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin made a surprising admission on Saturday after President Trump's defense lawyers laid out their opening arguments at Trump's Senate trial. Republicans are winning the impeachment case. Again, this is a quote. Again, I just think the Republicans are winning here. The president is winning here. And as long as they don't completely fall on their faces, which they're all competent lawyers, they're not going to do that. I think that's fine for them, Toobin argued. The liberal commentator also acknowledged that Trump's lawyers raised a legitimate point by underscoring the president's longstanding concerns with foreign aid and burden sharing among nations. They did make one good point about the transcript, I thought, which was the president did about burden sharing in that phone call. And the House managers didn't focus on that or even mention it, and fair is fair. He continued, according to the Washington Examiner. Now, we'll mention the weird comments about white people. Sure, fine. But Jesse Waters also made an excellent comment, and I'm now going to comment on Waters' comment about Trump's legal defense. Haha, isn't that funny how the political landscape works? But anyway, the point is, Trump's legal team said, how can you accuse Trump of obstruction of Congress when Congress never held a vote on subpoenas? It was an illegitimate subpoena. They just issued them without voting on them. You can't do it. Apparently, the Supreme Court has already ruled on this, that if the House wanted to issue a subpoena, they have to vote. Individual House members can't just snap their fingers and go subpoena whoever they want. Not only that, They didn't even try to rectify the executive privilege argument from Trump by going to the Supreme Court. So there's literally no obstruction of Congress. Congress never had a legal claim because they never voted. Even CNN is pointing out, yeah, well, you know, and I want to make one more point on impeachment, okay? Listen, there is this weird mentality among these resistance type people who absolutely just hate the president so much, but really don't pay attention to the news, where they think there's only one country in the world or like 5 countries. Let me tell you something. You know how many countries there actually are? Like, what is like, how many countries? 180 or something? I don't know, whatever. The point is, we have a lot of ambassadors. Trump probably never even knew who this woman was, Yovanovitch. Okay? They're all over the place. So they're acting like Trump is just so focused on Ukraine when Trump has been withholding aid to tons of other countries. We don't hear about that. It's only the Ukraine scandal. But Trump's legal team pointed that out too. Now let's read about the weird too many white people comment, I guess. And then I'll bring you to reality with what Americans actually think about Trump. And spoiler alert, they're actually pretty happy. Too many white people on Trump's defense team. They say, however, Toobin noted that Trump's legal team may have a major flaw. It lacks racial diversity, because everyone knows when you're trying to win a legal case, diversity is what's important. In subsequent remarks, the CNN analyst quipped, White House and white people, while pointing out that Trump has too many white men. Oh, this is such cringe, man. See, you know why I want to read this article from The Blaze, because they point this out? Because it shows you that even the cringiest of cringe can still agree Trump's legal team is winning. When you get someone complaining about the race of Trump's lawyers, but still admit Trump is winning, I think it says a lot, doesn't it? He says it was all white men today. There are 2 white women allegedly on the team. We'll see if they're allowed to argue. Oh, jeez. This is so... CNN, you're so cringy. Praised racial diversity on House Democrats. On the other hand, Toobin praised House Democrats for having a racially diverse team of impeachment managers. Quote, I mean, you know, this is a lesson in the diversity of the 2 parties, he said. I mean, you look at the House managers. It was almost evenly divided between men and women. It was, you had 2 African Americans, you had a Hispanic. It's unclear how the race and genders of either Trump's lawyers or House Democrats' impeachment team are relevant to the underlying facts or their respective cases. But Toobin said that since television is a visual medium, when you have one side that has a very diverse team and the other is comprised of all white men, it says something in and of itself. Yeah, only to racists? If you're one of these like far right racists, you're probably looking at Trump's team like, that's a bunch of white men. I like that. And if you're one of these far left racists, you're going, the Democrats have a very diverse team. I like that. But regular people don't care. Spoiler alert. Regular people absolutely do not care. Most people are just like, show me the facts. Does it make sense? Most people are not obsessed with race. There are a lot of people who are, mind you. So let's go to reality now. So you get it. Trump's winning on impeachment. Even the media agrees. And now we have this new Fox poll on the economy. A Fox News poll says, record economy ratings as voters credit Trump. You see, one thing Jesse Waters also pointed out, and which I pointed out and everyone points out, the Real Clear Politics average. Most people reject the impeachment and removal of Donald Trump. Now, he's already been impeached. So most people at this point, the largest spread yet, are saying no to Trump's removal. And in the real world, a poll finds from Fox News, 55% give the economy positive ratings, the highest since January 2001. Now, I will say, that is good news for the president in that a lot of people are happy with what's going on. But 55%, I got to admit, it's kind of scary. Like, we are a very, very split country, right? Let's read. They say, voters give the economy its best rating in nearly 2 decades. Okay. So I'll walk that last bit back a little bit. I would prefer to see like 70 or 80%, like some real unity. But hey, it's the best we've seen in 2 decades. Who's trying to impeach the president? You know what I mean? And yet, as his impeachment trial begins, Trump's job approval holds steady, while half say the Senate should remove him from office. The poll released Sunday finds 55% give the economy positive ratings, excellent or good. It's been 19 years since this many felt as positively, 59% in January 2001. In addition, a new high of 20% say the economy is in excellent shape, up from 14% in October 2019. It was 3% excellent in the final month of the Obama administration. Moreover, the bulk of voters credit Trump for the economy. When asked to say who or what they think is responsible for the current economy, without the aid of a list, the top answer is Trump and the Republicans at 42%. Next mentioned by far fewer is Obama and the Democrats at 9%. So right now, you know the biggest threat to the economy is? It's the Democrats' impeachment trial. See, one thing that really helps an economy is certainty. So when Trump won, it was to an extent certainty. But admittedly, with Trump, it was a lot of trade policy. People thought that he was a good bet because he was going to bolster the American economy. With Brexit, when the conservatives swept last month, certainty helped drive up the value of the pound and bolster their markets. Now we have a president who might be impeached, and that's bad for the economy. It's bad for the markets. You know, economies and markets are slightly different. But if Trump got impeached, I bet you'd see the Dow Jones plummet by double digits. It would be ridiculous. Who's going to want to invest in a country if they remove the, did I say impeached? I mean removed. He's already been impeached. If Trump actually got removed, people would be in panic mode with their investments in the United States. The best thing for the economy is not just about whether or not Trump's policies work, which they seem to be. It's about whether or not people will feel confident in investing and working in the United States. So if Trump wins re-election, that confidence will continue because of the great 4 years that had already happened before it. The economy right now is amazing. Jim Cramer, the best numbers of our lives. If Trump is removed, people will get scared. We had this great economy, and now what? You take him out? What comes next? If Trump loses re-election, it will also be really bad. And this is one of the biggest conundrums for basically anybody when it comes to voting. You might really detest the president. You might think he's the worst person in the world, but is the economy worth it? And it's a legitimate question. I mean, if you really think Trump is doing all these really awful things, you might be willing to take a hit to your pocketbook if you think the world would be better. Climate change, good example. Trump's not the best on climate change. I mean, actually, the climate change people really hate him. So if you think the environment is extremely important and Trump is deregulating, in a lot of areas, then you're probably willing to, see your salary reduced or lose some jobs in order to protect the planet. Here's a big problem. You're the fringe, okay? The people who really, really care about stuff, any kind of stuff, man, few and far between. I tell you what, you watch the Joe Rogan podcast, his MMA videos do like a lot better than a lot of his political videos. They really do. Because what does the average person care about? Sitting back in their lounge chair with a bowl of Doritos and some Mountain Dew, watching the things they're passionate about. Be it sports, video games, music, whatever. They care about their passions, their interests. Politics, I'll tell you, what one of the greatest gifts in the world is leadership, leaders. Because I know a lot of people who don't want to deal with the nitty gritty of whether or not we got to vote for this and that, whether or not we got to increase the tariffs by 10%, impose some policy over here. A lot of people love that. Now, personally, me, I'm one of the people who wants to be in the fray, talking about these issues, challenging good and bad ideas. A lot of people don't want to do that. So guess what? They looked at Trump and they say, I'll tell you what, man, I don't know. I don't know if we should build a wall. I don't know about any of that, dude. All I know is this guy came in, I'm making more money, my job, my company's hiring, we got more people, I got a promotion, I got a raise. I come home, got a brand new sofa, brand new widescreen TV, and I'm watching the game with my buddies. We're playing fantasy football. That's what I care about. Of course, the activists will complain and say that's bad. That's bad that they don't care. And I can understand to a certain extent, like it's good for you to pay attention. But whether or not it's good or bad doesn't matter. What matters is people like Trump. The best poll ratings in 20 years, okay? People's lives are better than ever. You're not going to win this way. You're going to lose this way. I believe that impeachment is going to go down in history as one of the worst blunders in American politics. The Democratic Party right now is floundering. I absolutely love about the Waters segment was when he points out Adam Schiff for like 4 days, or, it's not 4 days. What was it, like two or 3 days? Saying the same thing over and over again. And you know what? All the Republicans were pointing it out. They were like, Adam Schiff, it's like people are calling it Groundhog Day. I'm not exaggerating, man. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, you're very lucky and you made the right move. Because I've got the TV on right next to me, okay, with Fox News. And they played Schiff, and I had to turn it off. Because Schiff would stand there and go, this president was trying to cheat an election by pressuring a foreign nation. And I'd be like, okay, I know. And then I'd come back 10 minutes later, the exact same line over and over and over and over. The Republicans step up and say, well, we can address the one thing he said 50 times with one response. It took them 2 hours. So the Democrats are pattering. They're padding their speech. They're fluffing up what their argument is because there's no argument. It's going to go down in history as a serious blunder. And I'll tell you what, the media will be right alongside it because there are so many outlets that tried claiming that Trump's losing and he's scared, when in reality, look at the screen. Fox News poll, record economy ratings, voters credit Trump. I get it. Trump's a nasty guy. He's an arrogant narcissist. He's always been. And I was talking to someone recently, a local in my neighborhood, and he said that he was a lifelong Democrat. He voted for Trump, and I asked him why. And I was like, what, you know, are you not like, do you take issue with like Trump's attitude? He's like arrogant narcissist. You know, he's a braggart, boastful. He jumps the gun often. And the guy was like, hey man, we voted for that guy for a reason. And I'm like, I get it. It was a combination of just like wanting something new, and also I think to a lot of people wanting to punish the system, to send in the bull to charge through the ivory tower. Now they're happier than ever. I asked this guy, how you feel? He's like, man, work is great. You know, we're doing more and more work. We're hiring more and more people. It's been fantastic. Yeah. I went to a furniture store and the lady told me she made more money last year than she's ever made. I think she meant by year, but she said more money than she's ever made. Maybe she meant it. Maybe that's what she really meant. And I laughed and I was like, hey, it's the economy, right? It's great. And she's like, yeah, it's really good. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, man. Here, I'll wrap it up with this because you get the point. Impeachment is meaningless. They've lost already. Even CNN, NBC, ABC are all saying Trump's legal team, man, they hit it out of the park. So you know what comes next? As most Americans reject impeachment and removal, I know he was already impeached, right? They eject the removal of the president. The trial is nonsense. And now, because we're seeing more and more public support for the president, his approval rating remains steady at a near all-time high. People are going to be more and more confident to check that R box come November. I think we're going to see a lot of people, though. Here's how I've put it. I love this. A lot of Democrats, you know, they've admitted. There was another study done. I think it was Hill Harris X, where they were saying that these Democrats were like, we know the economy is better than ever and we're making tons of money, but climate change. Oh, yeah, I heard you. I think you're concerned about climate change, but I'll tell you this. Those people are going to go in the voting booth. They're going to look over their shoulder, make sure nobody can see, and they're going to check off that Donald Trump box. You know why? People are motivated by self-interest and money. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be. But that's just reality. And I think if you want to deny reality, you're free to do so. And then you're free to wake up on, you know, November, what was it? November 11th, 9th? I don't know, when's the election? Whatever. You're free to wake up on January 22nd. Donald Trump is your president still. And you can get on your knees, look to the sky and scream no as loud as you want. Because in America, you have free speech. So you're free to deny whatever you want. And you're also free to complain about it. But in the end, if you don't take this stuff seriously and you keep pretending like Trump is losing and acting like people don't like what's going on, you're going to be in for a rude awakening come November. I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. youtube.com/Timcast. It is a different channel and on YouTube, and I will see you all there.